from what you were saying, it would seem as though that before meditation and before the Maharishi, there weren't enough answers, or from what John was saying last week, that life, implicating you here, that, I mean, that life, you had bad days and good days, that now there are more good days, that life has more purpose, that things like money and so on weren't enough before?
Yeah, well, I mean, we said that last week. It's just that the good days are very good and the bad days are okay, you know, just through tapping me source of energy.
And I mean, has it altered your attitude to something like money? Was money ever satisfying and it isn't now, or what?
It's not all, what I meant about the money last week was, before we sort of made it, as they say, money was partly the goal, but it still wasn't a sort of, let's get some money. But we sort of suddenly had money, and then it wasn't all that good. You know?
By having the money, we found that money wasn't the answer, because we had lots of material things that people sort of spend their whole life to try and get. We managed to get them at quite an early age. And it was good, really, because we learned that that wasn't it. We still lacked something, and that something is the thing that religion is trying to give to people.
And now that you've got meditation, would you, now you have that plus, would you be as happy now if all the money were taken away?
Yeah, I'd probably be happier, actually, because it's the, if you have some income, then you have some income tax. And if you have a big house, you have all the other things, headaches that go with it. So naturally, for every material thing you gain, there's always a little loss, whether it's mental or in some other way. You get a headache for everything you own, so if you don't own anything, you've got a clear mind.
You get them all saying, give it away now.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
see, that's
a lot of people seem to think that, that this was one of the things that was sort of too easy about meditation, that where Jesus Christ said, give everything away to the poor, the Maharishi says, just give 1 week's wages. I mean, do you think that's too easy?
No, I mean, well, why is it too easy? It's better than not doing anything. Isn't it? You know, what's easy about it?
When I'm quoting them, I'm not sure.
His meaning for this meditation is to, so that people don't alter their day-to-day routine, but through the meditation, their routine will naturally become influenced by the meditation experience. So they can keep all the material wealth and things like that they have. It's just like this gives them some spiritual wealth to go with it, and with that you're able to put the material wealth more into the true perspective. Instead of, I mean, you can use all the material things, like we've got them, and it's nice to have them, but we don't really believe in them, whereas some people who haven't the material things, they tend to believe in them.
But if you had to choose at this moment between having meditation and all that goes with it, and having all your possessions, you would choose to give up the possessions?
Yes.
You were explaining sort of after the program was over on Friday that, I mean, what the eventual aim of it is, and the eventual aim of life is, and the eventual point with meditation that you hope to reach. Scribbling on there again, if you like. What were you saying?
Well, with this expansion of consciousness, these three states that we live in at the moment, like sleeping and waking and dreaming, they're all known as relative states because it's all relative. Transcendental meditation takes you to that transcendental level of pure consciousness. But by going there often enough, you bring that level of consciousness out onto this level, or you bring this level onto that level. But the relative plus that level becomes cosmic consciousness. And that means that you're able to hold the full bliss consciousness in the relative field. So you can go about your actions all the time with bliss consciousness.
Yes, that's right. And then can you go
And then
further
there's a
than
higher one, yes, they go higher and attain what's known as God consciousness, and then higher still to one known as supreme knowledge, where the people who know about supreme knowledge know about all the subtle laws that control the universe. Consequently, they're able to do all those things that are called miracles. In actual fact, a miracle is just having knowledge of supreme law.
And so that these people are able to do miracles, are they, when they reach this point, also able to live longer and do this?
Yes, well, there's lots of cases. There's a book I've been reading about a yogi known as Shiva Puri Baba. He lived to be 136, and when he was 112, he got cancer of the mouth and started smoking cigarettes and got rid of it. And there's another one. There's one who's in the Himalayas at this very moment, and he's been there since. I mean, it sounds pretty far out, you know, to the average person who doesn't know anything about this, but this fellow's been there since before Jesus Christ, and he's still here now, in the same physical body.
Same suit.
But I mean, so that from before Jesus Christ, and he's still there?
They get control over life and death. They have complete control over everything, having attained that higher state of consciousness. So his plan is so that people from the age of, say, 15 practice it. By the time they're our age, they've already attained cosmic consciousness, that is, the state of
Stage
bliss.
3, as it were, yeah.
Mm.
And
then they're at an age where they can go and act and manage to change the world a little bit for the better, rather than sort of waiting till you're almost dying and thinking, you know, what is it? We've got to find out where we're going, not all this thing about death, and then they start panicking, and then it's a bit late. Now, the whole point is to try and find it out at this age, and then you've got your whole life to go and act upon it.
And then you set about doing something about the world around you.
Well, obviously, if you believe in certain things and other people aren't, as it were, harmonizing with these laws, it's all the thing about the Ten Commandments, all that. It's that sort of thing that certain people have laid down laws, or they've said that these laws exist, and we live within these laws anyway. Whether we like it or not, we're controlled by these divine laws. So if you harmonize with the laws, then everything's much nicer, and nature tends to support you.
Yes, it's very difficult to do it at any speed. First of all, I don't accept universal divine laws, so that's a difficulty. But I think you've really got to judge these beliefs by their pragmatic effect and the amount of good they're going to do in the world. And what worries me very much about this attitude is it seems to be tremendously self-involved and finally tremendously selfish. And the idea of sitting very quietly perfecting yourself while everybody else goes to hell around you seems to be not really...
For 20 minutes a day.
The most, well, but it seems to me there's a great deal of very important things happening in the world. We're in a great crisis of history. And if we all wait to perfect ourselves, nothing will be done about it.
But it's 20 minutes in the morning, so you can go out and do something about all
well,
that.
all right, if that's all it is.
Listening to what we say.
But you see, this kind of doctrine of universal love, in a way, seems to me to end up by not really caring about anybody very much.
Well, that's
what
your
I think
point.
one needs is a little well-aimed loathing at things like President Johnson and Ronald Reagan and so on, and not sitting in San Francisco watching the flowers grow and letting Governor Reagan be elected perhaps
Well, that's
the
not the
presidency
same
of the
thing, you
United
know. I mean,
States.
that's watching the flowers grow in Haight-Ashbury is not what we're talking about.
No, but I think that everything, nothing that you've said has seemed to me to have any real consciousness of the historical crises in which other people are getting involved.
But this is the whole point of this whole situation. This is in order to expand the conscious capacity of the mind for right action. And if the intelligence is increased, and if the contentment is increased, and if the energy is increased, this all comes to bear upon whatever the moment may be.
Well,
This is the whole purpose of this teaching, is for action.
But with great respect, that hasn't happened in India. What's happened in India is an enormous acceptance of disaster and a kind of placid...
Precisely. Now, this whole point is what is wrong with spiritual teaching has been wrong for centuries.
Well, that may be wrong with the Maharishi also.
No, because this is precisely the situation which he has come to reform. His position is exactly the position that you're taking up.
To John and George, I mean, is this fair, the parallel that's been being drawn here between your sort of getting very involved with meditation and that somehow being very, very selfish, and not caring
What I'm
about
saying
the world.
selfishness is it sounds like you're going to sit down in silence all the time. You know, you do it in the morning, say, to do your day's action, whatever it is, better. But you're putting it down saying, we can't sit down contemplating our navels while all this is going on. The whole point of doing it is to have more energy and more control over yourself, to be able to do whatever action
anyone would argue with that for a moment. If you're going to
What were you
Some of us
saying
here
then?
are Quakers, and we've been practicing what some people would call a form of meditation which has driven the Society of Friends into action. Now, after last week's wonderful program, we were very impressed, and people have been saying to us, there's a couple of lads there who are natural Quakers. Now, do they think they're Quakers?
Well, it's all the same. This is the point we've got to try and get over to people, that religion, there's only one God, and they're all a branch of the same thing. And the sooner people get over this sectarianism, the better, you know. I mean, I'm a Quaker, I'm a Christian, and I'm a Buddhist, and I'm a Hindu, and it's all the same.
Well, that's what Quakers have been saying for the last 300
Well,
years.
yes.
There's part of the divine in all of us.
Bully for the Quakers.
Do you find, John and George, that your beliefs have altered as a result of meditation?
No, they've been strengthened. But I've always believed this for the last couple of years, but through the meditation it's just strengthened it. You see, all these doctrines and beliefs that have been laid down by great prophets, they've been put down there because these people have actually experienced it. And by their experience with some form of truth, they've tried to put it out for all the rest of the people to take up. But his argument is just based on no experience at all.
You said just now that you're a Hindu, you're a Buddhist, you're a Christian, you're all of these.
Yes.
People think of those things normally as different.
Yes.
What is it, in what way is it that they're all the same?
Well, because it's teaching the people through various forms how to approach God, and God being the one and only creator.
But is
They're
this
all
experience
different.
driving our friends into some kind of community? This is what's bothering us a bit. Is this something you must do on your own, or does it lead you into community action?
Well, you
I
must
wonder-
do it on your own to attain your own bliss state. Naturally, it's something that Jesus said, something about go and fix your own house first. And that's what you've got to do. Everybody goes and fixes themselves up. And when they're all straight, then they're all able to act together, because we're all one anyway, whether you like it or not.
Do you think it's fair, what's been said so far by John Mortimer and so on, suggesting that meditation is selfish?
I don't see how it's selfish. If we've no need to be here, you know, I mean, we don't sort of dig doing TV for the fun of it. We're here just because we want, you know, we believe in meditation.
And
So
we
that's not very
believe
selfish.
we can sort of maybe help a few other people to understand that it's, you know, that it's easy.
But all right then, John, what is then the difference, would you say, between John Lennon before meditation and John Lennon after a few weeks of meditation?
Well, before I wouldn't have been here. I've got more energy and more happiness. I don't know about intelligence. But I'm just happier. You know, I'm just a better person. And I wasn't bad before.
I'll second that.
Yeah. Thank you, George. Thank you.
And that, there, with personal testimony, is where we must leave it. Until tomorrow night, good night.